Well, hello everybody. I'm Caroline Stevens. I was the Brexit campaign manager for the referendum in 2016. As you know, I've been talking about the constitutional issues pertaining to us having signed the Lisbon Treaty way back in 2007. We're still party to that treaty today. Now, this is an exclusive video, exclusive from the perspective of the information I'm going to share with you has not been shared publicly before. See, behind the scenes I've been working with a constitutional expert, been in communications with him about the Lisbon Treaty, and although he wishes to remain anonymous for the time being, he's now said we can release these letters that have been going backwards and forwards between himself, let's call him Mr. Q or Mr. X, and members of the House of Lords. Now, see, for those of you who've watched a previous video, you'll know that from 2020, the Lisbon Treaty changes the voting mechanics, and we've got this qualified majority vote with no rights of veto, and that's in the EU Commission. So potentially we've now got 27 member potentate will, by majority, be able to govern Europe and potentially overrule the Crown. The effects of the Lisbon Treaty are entirely incompatible with our sovereignty here. Now, this matter, as I say, has been taken to the House of Lords by Mr. Q, our constitutional expert. And as I say, I'm going to protect his identity for now. I'm also going to protect the identity of the Lords he's been in communication with. But now I can read out the letter that's been going between Mr. Q and the House of Lords. And this letter is headed "A Constitutional Initiative to Override a Political Deadlock." Public anxiety and dismay as to Brexit political arguments reflects a similar mood and confusion in the House of Commons, which makes it extremely difficult for us, the public, poorly served by the media, to understand the critical issues, which in turn will make it more difficult to gain wide acceptance to find any kind of solution. So in particular, it's noticeable that the parliamentary discussions are failing to address significantly critical constitutional problems, which may vary according to which solution is to the outcome. So it may be helpful to win public support if these are now more clearly explained and understood. Yet only the Daily Express a few days ago has made any significant move towards this. None of our politicians have at all. So nothing would help more to achieve public understanding of the constitutional hazards than to initiate urgently the direct appeal to the United Nations. We need to seek their support for bringing the EU Commission, EUC, into strict conformity with the requirements of Clause 46.1 of the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaty Making of 1969. Serving this notice would also provide immediately justifiable cause for an extension to the Chapter 50 timetable and demonstrate a firm and legally justified government initiative. In line with the application to the UN, the government should then explain to Parliament and to the media the different constitutional hazards arising from the alternative solutions available. For example, remaining in the EU, whether temporarily or indefinitely, may see the UK embroiled in the coming move to qualified majority vote in 2020 and beyond. Now, this is contrary to the popular vote and that which our government has promised to deliver. Remember, we voted to leave on the 23rd of June 2016. Our government promised to deliver a mandate, that mandate. It is utterly detrimental to our constitution. It will involve the creation of a European standing army and loss of control of our own defence forces. We've been warned of very significant consequent damage to our intelligence services. There would be a loss of control of fiscal independence and currency, and a loss of diplomatic independence to make international treaties. Now, a full destruction of our constitutional autonomy and sovereign independence could, and most probably will, rapidly follow any arrangement that does not recover sovereignty which was originally breached in the Lisbon Treaty. We must exit by initiating a supra-party political consensus confirming our constitution. The way forward from this is to, firstly, we need to make an immediate appeal to the United Nations, making reference to a potential breach of the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaty Making 1969 under Article 46(1), with a view to seeking an adjudication that the EU is attempting to force us to agree a treaty based upon fundamentally constitutional even arrangements unacceptable to the British Crown. The Attorney General previously discouraged this initiative, if you remember, because he had addressed the wrong clause in the treaty. The correct clause states that no trading agreement may be entered into which significantly compromises the constitutional integrity of the responding nation, which is surely an accurate description of the EU's exit position. Secondly, what we should be doing. If the application could be supported by Her Majesty, it would add significant force. This application to the UN could surely be assembled by a government legal team within a single working day and be ready to be presented by the UK's ambassador to the UN on behalf of Her Majesty within 48 hours. Media coverage would immediately raise the entire public perception of the Brexit issue, put in perspective political loyalties, and engender, hopefully, a public patriotic response. People, are you ready for this? This is our time to shine. We must save the UK. Thirdly, in the meantime, we must begin to educate the public and electorate to the relative risks of both the Remain strategy and the reasons why a no-deal exit may be the only means to preserve our national independence and our continuity of our proud sovereign status. We must also show that this sovereign status will only be placed in ever greater risk unless we are set free and clear from the EU Commissioner's qualified majority strategy, which is due to commence next year. Only if the UN do not uphold our complaint, then only the leave without a deal solution will achieve this. And fourthly, the dire constitutional consequences of Remain will very likely force an abdication by the monarch. Yes, an abdication by the monarch. She would either have to accept a state of perjury or maintain the Crown's honour by abdication. Her oaths of office will have become entirely corrupted, such that no successor could undertake them. Thus, the total demise of the Crown is a very real and inherent risk and remaining. So, whatever your opinions are of the Queen and the monarch and the Crown, the fact is that we still do have a Queen, and she does protect us. We keep our sovereignty by her being in place. So you can now see how this is going to impact on us individually. So failure to terminate the membership of the European Union will continue to lead us all deeper into a treasonous liability arising from placing our governance subject to a foreign potentate. That potentate is unelected by the UK's electorate, is unaccountable to them, and irremovable by them. This is an absolute affront to the dignity and majesty of the Crown. It could foreshadow the total demise of the monarchy. Now, when Brexit is finally done, Parliament must be shown to have discharged its absolute responsibility not to have reduced its own very great power. So basically, in summary, we now need to take this message out into the world, especially to the people in the UK, people in the Commonwealth who depend on us. They're looking to us. We are the beacon. The British public must be brought to an understanding that Brexit is a vital precondition for the maintenance of our sovereignty and independence, and that our political forces are acting responsibly and with great integrity on behalf of the whole community. In passing, it will do no harm to remind all levels of Parliament in this process. We potentially have a 10-day deadline on this. I know that Jacob Rees-Mogg has received copies of this correspondence. This is one of the letters which I've just added a few comments to, and there's also a second letter. If anybody would like the actual hard copies of those letters that they perhaps would like to take to their local MP, then perhaps you could contact me, drop me an email on sovereigntydemocracy@protonmail.com. It's an encrypted email system. That's sovereigntydemocracy@protonmail.com. The only dot is just before the com. So, we need to take back control of our country. We need to make sure that we still have a monarchy. The Lisbon Treaty, I'm afraid, is very real, and our MPs are being very negligent. All the politicians are. How many politicians are talking about the Lisbon Treaty and its implications? We have only a few days left. I'll leave it with you, people, and as I say, please drop me a line if you'd like the hard copies of these letters, and just share like mad on this video. This is real. This isn't political spin. It's the truth. Thank you for listening. I'll see you again soon. Bye.